hey man, I got something I don't know how to figure out. Can you help me with this? That was like in your house, that was usually right there. I mean, it's funny looking back in life. There was a season in time where I believe 4 out of the 5 brothers roomed in a room together, and I went back to the house not too long ago, and it's not a very big room, and we had bunk beds, and we had another bed with a trundle that went out, at the bottom of it, and we just thought it was normal, and that was the way life was done, and you forget, like, the bonds that you have in life start there in family. Like, that's hey, today was a hard day, hey, why was it? And you go through your day, and so now for me, seeing my, kids, I got they room, and they go, and one morning the other day, my Leo, he's 8, he's like, Dad, when we go to bed, we don't go to sleep right away. I just want you to know. And I was like, of course I already knew this. And I was like, oh man, what are you doing? He was like, man, Phoenix and I, we just stay up talking for a while before we get tired. And that friendship will be cemented in stone for the rest of their life because of that. And I think we had the gift of that. And, starting out, in music, the first people we ever called was like, hey man, we need help doing X, Y, Z. It was always family, and I think it's vice versa. I've worked for basically every one of my brothers before we started music. And that was the trust that was built all those years ago. And I think that's what I love about having a big family.
Breck Stott, over to the left. Breck asks, do you remember much of your first concert and where it was performed? Where our first concert?
Oh yeah.
Not our first concert, right? Just the first concert, right, Brett?
I think your first concert.
Oh, our first concert. Okay. So I'll give you 2-for-1 answer then. My first concert ever that I could recall was actually a Striper concert in Sydney, Australia.
Striper?
To hell with the devil, man,
What's your language, son?
and our first concert was at a coffee shop called the Coffee Beanery that no longer exists actually in the strip mall in Franklin, Tennessee, where we live.
I think it's a Chinese buffet now.
And it was just an acoustic show. It was the 3 of us, 2 of us and 3 musicians, and we pulled about every string. We printed flyers. We pulled about every string to get as many of our friends and family as we possibly could there. And it was mediocre at best as far as the show is concerned. But I remember halfway through we did a little mini intermission, and so we played a set and did an intermission, and our producer at the time, Sean Schenkel, came up to us and he turned to us and was like, hey, can you guys hear yourselves okay?
She did.
Know about that. Oh, it's in her book. Is that right? Yeah. So
We gotta stop the famous stories,
So
Be honest, Scott. Be honest.
it's interesting. Mum is actually here tonight, everyone. By the way,
Make her answer.
it's our Dad's birthday today, so we might make some good use of that later tonight. But so when I was 16, Luke and I, we have 2 older brothers, Ben, who's a filmmaker just above me, and Daniel, who's doing all this lighting and all the lighting design that you see here tonight. But Ben and I, and this was my parents' terminology, not my own. So they said, you are becoming too Americanized.
How do you feel about that text terminology?
It was theirs. So in order to unwind this said Americanizing, they sent us to speaking of farm, a genuine 25,000 acre cattle farm in the outback of Australia.
Guys, it's so big, you have to drive half an hour to get to your next door neighbor's house.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we had family friends that kind of go back generations. That Dad grew up with their father, and they have 4 daughters, and so we all became, family friends. But it was it was a tricky time. We were meant to be there, I think, for 6 weeks. I think we lasted for 2.5 or 3 weeks in the end. And in all seriousness, we were just right in the middle of figuring ourselves out. I think we all were as teenagers. Like I said, I was 16, he was 18. He'd just gone through a really hard breakup, and I was dating a girl that my parents didn't approve of.
It was a forbidden love.
It was a forbidden love, I suppose. And so, yeah, we got sent back to Australia for 3 weeks. I'm not sure it did us any good in the end, but yeah, my parents are serious business.
I feel like as Joel's telling you the story, that he's still trying to work out the memories.
I am trying to work it out. Oh man, there were so many. I almost lost my finger from getting it trapped because we were pulling posts up. I almost got it trapped in between a tractor blade and the post, and I still have a scar to prove it. I ran over accidentally his prized chainsaw. John felt the bummer. He was very upset about that. I mean, it was just...
And the motorbike. You have to talk about the motorbike.
And the motorbike, I didn't understand that it had a clutch, so I was just shoving it into different gears, so I
destroyed the transmission of the motorbike.
destroyed the transmission of the motorbike. It was just really festive. I think so. We were out there phoning by hundreds of dollars. Oh, here's AOL, dial-up, you know.
Here's another one. Our brother Ben, when he gets too hot when he sleeps, and in Australia,
he has night terrors.
He has night terrors. And so he woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a picture frame that, as he's having a night terror, that was like, I think it was a little...
It was all sorts of...
He put his hand through the picture frame and put a hole in the wall.
Luke, we can't waste all of our time talking about this show. We need some move on.
I get the sense that Texas is liking this. Julie Vaughn.
And we go back, dinner started at what, 5, Chico?
Yep, 5 to 8.
5 to 8, so we'll go back and usually we'll grab a bite to eat before the show. And then we all, most of the crew at this point and the band, you gotta think we're kind of in all different places of the venue most of the day. Some people on the concourse, front of house, behind stage, on stage, front stage. And so if you're not careful, you just miss each other. We're on 3 different buses and truck drivers. So it's really important to have just a moment together, just a kind of calibration moment. So we'll run over any kind of particular details of the show and the set tonight, and anything we're changing. And then we've been really fortunate to have our dad out for this tour, and he'll kind of share something. He'll be reading a Tim Keller book right now, so we'll share a bit of that. And
maybe be left as a mystery, you know?
well, with the Australian answer, but you just kept going. You know?
What are the surprises? Zoe Zarati? It can get really complicated. So we are not always known to be very fast songwriters, but Joy was probably the most complicated song to write, because if you actually listen to it and you actually start pulling apart the way the song works, you don't kind of get to the real chorus until the second chorus. And there's all of these little maneuvers that we had to figure out, because if you listen to the song, the first chorus, if it never went to, there's not enough song, and it's actually quite empty. And so we got up to, I believe, 90 versions of that song. And when I say 90 versions, that's us going and there's a new save. It's basically every time you open up a song, that's save 1. The next day you'll go in, save 2, And so it doesn't necessarily mean that we worked on it for 90 days, but somebody opened that session up at least 90 times, which, if you have a song moving pretty quickly, towards production, you should be probably at 20 to 25. So for whatever reason, that song was really, really complex. And I think we gave up on it. Nearly gave up on it several times. And, I think songs like that are a testament to just understanding when there's something that keeps you coming back and there's something special about it. It's, and you can trust in all the things, the greatest things that the world has to offer. But it's going to let you down. Trust in God. Love that verse. But this year, Romans 5, 3, and 4, struggle produces something. It produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. has quickly just become one of my favorite verses, because we're all going to go through struggle, right? It's impossible. I mean, in the Bible it says, struggle will find you, but take heart, I've overcome the world. So what do you do with the struggle? And if you know that struggle is going to produce something as life-saving as hope, it validates the struggle. And like for anybody that walks through struggle, you never want to go through struggle. But if you know that on the other side, that this struggle can produce something in you that is worthwhile, that is eternal, it makes you say, oh, count it all joy when I experience trials. You actually can say that. And so I think for me, I think that scripture has taken on a whole new meaning, and I think quickly it's becoming my favorite in the Bible.
All right, we got time for one more. Eden Kish. Woo! You were ready for that one. Eden says, my pastor always concludes his sermons with the best is yet to come. Aside from eternity with our Savior, what are you looking forward to? I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh, that's the greatest.
God bless you.
Eden, you know, it's actually a really valid question, because there's this delineation between what does it mean to bring God's kingdom to earth, and then what does it mean to sort of long for the next life in a strange way. And sometimes I think we sort of emphasize one or the other. You know, there's one train of thought that's like, you know, we're here, that's our job, and we don't think about the next bit. And then there are other people like, just get me to the next bit, you know, I just want to go into, you know, pass into heaven. And I end up pulling a lot of cues from the life of Jesus in that he was so focused on bringing God's goodness and God's kingdom to earth. This, what I think we call the upside down kingdom, this idea of just all of these ideas of what it means to be great, becoming the least, and, you know, serving others, and love, all these things that were so foreign and still are in many ways to our sort of primal humanity, these sort of fallen selves about, that he literally flipped the world on its head, and it's such a beautiful thing that we get to celebrate this evening. So I'm with you. I think wherever there is breath in our lungs, there is more, you know, and there's a richness to each season. There's a richness to you, but then there's a richness to, like our dad's 76 today. Like there's a richness to him. He has, you know, 7 kids and 17 and a half grandkids now, and he's been married for almost, is it 50 years? Or almost. Yeah, 50 years. 50 years. Oh, 50 years. Like, there's such a beauty to that. And so I really prescribe to this idea that there is more. And there's more of both. And it's non-exclusive. There's more in this life, and there's more in the next. But it's so much less about circumstance.
You got married in 75
so
and you got married in 77.
For sure. Guys, thank you. You have literally been the loveliest.
You have. You guys are
loveliest
good.